In this video, we do another unboxing. What lies beyond Shadowgate? Let's find out. Hey everyone, John here. Today we're going to be unboxing Beyond Shadowgate. This is a game from Zojoi and GrahfMetal Games. It's the sequel to the NES game Shadowgate. Ooh. Shadowgate, as well as Deja Vu and Uninvited, are point-and-click adventure games originally released on the Macintosh by ICOM Simulations. Though these are referred to as MacVenture games, they were soon ported to numerous computer platforms, but found a great deal of success in their NES ports published by Kemco. Shadowgate was originally the third MacVenture game, but the first to be published on the NES, so its then unique gameplay made it the most popular one, so it's not surprising that it has received the most re-releases, remakes, and sequels since. Also a book and a board game. But the sequels get a little confusing here. Before we talk about the Beyond Shadowgate that I'm about to unbox, I should mention this is not the same as the Beyond Shadowgate release for the TurboGrafx CD. That 1993 game was published by Turbo Technologies Incorporated, and though still developed by ICOM Simulations, the original creators were no longer involved, and so it departed from the originally intended script. Both games begin by escaping a prison cell by starting a fire, but then soon deviate. And perhaps more obviously, the TurboGrafx CD one is the third-person game with more action. Though there are still items to find and use, that sort of puzzle-solving gameplay takes a backseat here. It did not sell well, due to it being a North American exclusive game for a very expensive and not well marketed CD expansion for the TurboGrafx 16, which was nowhere near as popular as its contemporaries like the Sega Genesis or the Super NES. While an interesting curiosity, this 1993 Beyond Shadowgate is not considered a true sequel, especially now in light of the version of Beyond Shadowgate we are looking at here.
You're free to go.
Zojoi, a game company founded by Shadowgate's creator, Dave Marsh.
Hi, I'm Dave Marsh.
Now has the rights to the Shadowgate franchise. In 2023, they contacted GrahfMetal Games, an indie game developer who created the games Spectacle and Infested, which you can download from itch.io, and these are clearly inspired by the NES MacVenture games. Together, Zojoi and GrahfMetal sought to create a proper sequel to Shadowgate, with the same interface, using the original Beyond Shadowgate script, and with the original creator's blessing and involvement. Following a successful Kickstarter campaign, of which I contributed to at the Hero tier, the real Beyond Shadowgate was released in late 2024, and I apologize for only getting around to unboxing it now. But I have already played it digitally and gotten all the endings and achievements, so look forward to the maps I'm working on and will soon be on my website, vgmaps.com, the video game atlas, if they aren't already up by the time you watch this video. Yes, I rarely ever map games for my own maps website, so it's a testament to how much I enjoyed this game that I have done this. Before we get to the unboxing, one more thing to clear up. I did say the sequels are confusing, and that confusion has already continued on beyond Shadowgate. A game called Shadowgate 2 appeared on Steam in mid-February 2025. This is surprising because it seemed to appear suddenly. I think I learned about it the day before it came out, and I feel like I'm not the only one. Plus, it had only been a few months since the release of Beyond Shadowgate, which we know is the true sequel to Shadowgate. This Shadowgate 2 is maybe supposed to be a sequel to the 2014 reimagining of the original, though that game ended with a tease for Beyond Shadowgate. Shadowgate 2 features the character Raven from the cancelled Shadowgate Rising game, and who also appears in the Beyond Shadowgate prequel comic. Told you it was confusing. I guess I can't say much more about Shadowgate 2 as I haven't played it, and I might not due to its mostly negative reviews on Steam. However, Beyond Shadowgate is glowing with very positive reviews, so let's return to my unboxing of it. Enough rambling, let's get right into the unboxing. So I supported them at, I believe this is the Hero tier, so I think it has pretty much everything that they want to include in this. So let's get to this.
Was it expensive?
I think it was like $100 or something.
I hope you're not E-poor after that.
Huh? Oh, okay, I got what you're saying. Yeah, okay, I got it. So, anyways. Yes. That's a good one, Jace. You think of that on the spot? Alright, so, unboxing Beyond Shadowgate. Alright, let's put this aside so I don't stab myself. I think I said that before in another unboxing. Okay, so I've cut the tape. Unboxings are fun, aren't they? Here we go, opening the box. So, I don't know if you can see all this here. Okay, so what we've got here. Beyond Shadowgate, ooh. in this nice box here. GrahfMetal Games and Zojoi. You see that? So we open it. Whoa! There's a bunch of goodies in here. Alright. So there's something here, probably for a stand or something. What we have here is an actual metal coin. Shadowgate here. I want to just take it out so you can actually see. Yeah. You see here, we've got the Shadowgate Gargoyle. And of course, if you've played this game for even a minute, you'll probably be familiar with the other side. It's the Grim Reaper from the Game Over screen. How do you like that, Jace? Pretty grim, eh?
It is quite grim.
Alright. Nice metal coin, okay. Alright, what else do we have in here? We've got a cloth map. So I've already played the game, because, you know, I got the digital codes for it, and this is already a few months old, sorry about that. I think the game areas are just like, literally down here. I think that's it, like just the bottom part. But whatever, this is the whole world of the land surrounding Kaltorin. Nice cloth map. Don't you miss when old PC games came in boxes and they had goodies like maps like this, AJs?
Yeah.
Check to make sure it's actually cloth. Oop. Alright, let's not wreck this. Oh yeah, you can feel that. It's like cloth. It feels like those microfiber cloths, you know, when you clean your glasses, AJs?
Oh.
Here, why don't you check it out, here. Alright, so I'll put that back in here. So whatever, I'll put it there. Continuing on, what else is in this box? Let's see, we also have... Come on now. There you go, how do you like that? Okay?
Wow, that's your
Beyond Shadowgate. It's a box for the NES game. We have the NES game here. It's not actually, you can see there's nothing in there. Okay, well, this is a fake cartridge, right? So obviously nothing's gonna happen if I stick it in here. Power it on. Right? Wait, what? Wait, how can this be? Let me grab my controller. What the? Is this actually the game? Whoa! You know, because it's a sequel to the NES game, so you gotta see that on an NES cartridge, what it would look like. Beyond Shadowgate.
What?
What?
Oh, just the back.
It's blank on the back. There's no warnings about how you have to hold reset to save your game or anything like that, I think. So if you want to compare it to the original here, well, I mean, it just looks like any other NES cartridge. See? So yeah, you can see on the back of the NES one, you got a gold label for the game pack being able to save. Okay, anyways. So yeah, so I've played the game multiple times. I've already gotten all the endings, all the achievements as well. I probably should have said something what the game's actually about. But the blurb on the back, it says, Beyond Shadowgate, the official sequel to the classic NES game. 35 years, which I think is probably the amount of time since the original game. Wow, that makes me feel old. 35 years have passed since Jared defeated the Warlock Lord in the caverns beneath the living castle, Shadowgate. In that time, the land of Kaltorlin prospered and Shadowgate was forgotten. But once again, evil is stirring, scheming to bring the world to ruin. Within the dungeons of the capital city of Gwynethel sits a fenling by the name of Del Thornborough. Soon this small thief will escape his fetters, only to find himself thrust into a different role, that of a reluctant hero. Lead Del through the darkened streets of Gwynethel, across the Torlin Forest, over the Gatekeeper Mountains, and beyond, in all capital letters. Uncover plots to overthrow kingdoms that threaten to plunge the land into darkness. Experience the story from the original creators, found in documents thought lost to time. Beyond Shadowgate is developed, produced, and funded by avid Shadowgate fans. Shall I open this, Jace?
Yes. That's the whole point.
Because it definitely feels like there's something in here, but we already have the NES game. So what could be in here? Ooh.
A manual. Another cartridge.
So there we go. We have another cartridge in here. You ever try hitting the lights, Jace? Okay, well that was anticlimactic. Alright, turn them back on. Okay, so yeah, I guess it hasn't had time to store up the light. Glow-in-the-dark cartridge. What do you think of that, Jace?
Sure, that it's very interesting that they would decide to do that.
Yeah, I'll have to
It'd be like the torch in the games, right? You better hope it doesn't run out.
Yeah, okay. So, yes. Thankfully, they don't actually have that in Beyond Shadowgate, but in the original game, so annoying when those torches go out. I'll edit in a shot in here if this actually is a glow-in-the-dark cartridge. What else have we got in here? Oh, there's more. Oh. Come on. Whoops, that's just the styrofoam. Okay. Nope, we have the instruction booklet. What do you think of that, Jace?
Wow, it actually looks like an actual NES instructions book.
No, yeah, it looks fine, looks legit. It's all good, right? So there we go, there's that. So, it's kind of like the whole NES experience here. Come on. Alright. So that's that. And then back here is a quote. "The second shall raise one of the carefree to travel the path of luck. Gabriel the Bard." So that's the contents of that. There's still more stuff in the box though. So yes, we have here the Shadowgate Power Strategy Guide. So yeah, doesn't it look just like an issue of Nintendo Power, Jace?
It sure does.
Even on the back, they even have that label here. You can see it's sent on August 87 to Shadowgate's Gamer from 777 Gatekeeper Mountains, Cal Torlin 11564.
They really went all out with this.
Yes. So yes, okay, so this is the same as the digital version that I used to help me play through the game. Actually, there's 4 different endings, and this only leads you to one of them. So, is that it? Yeah. That is it. That is a short unboxing. Sorry it took me so long to get around to this. I might throw in a review of Beyond Shadowgate right here. Beyond Shadowgate is a sequel that very much embraces the NES original. Though Shadowgate has been remade in HD and has other sequels that are in 3D and even VR, many people know of it best as an 8-bit point-and-click Nintendo game. Zojoi's choice to return to this retro style decades later appeals to those who remember back then. Sure, while 8-bit NES style games are definitely commonplace these days, this is notable for being a mainline sequel and not a spin-off, sort of like Capcom's Mega Man 9 and 10. It helps that GrahfMetal is involved, as it shows their love of this NES MacVenture game engine with their original games, Spectacle and Infested, as mentioned earlier. Beyond Shadowgate is quite like the NES Shadowgate, most certainly visually. Nintendo's classic 8-bit platform has a resolution of 256 by 224 pixels, while Beyond Shadowgate screens have a 16:9 ratio with 400 by 225 pixels. The functional area is really just this 256 by 225 in the middle. So it's one row of pixels taller, no big deal. But if you wanted to, you could say it really is 224 pixels tall, since nothing goes on the bottom row anyway. Practically a 1-to-1 match. As with the original, there is a persistent inventory listing on the upper right that shows your goods and spells, a panel of commands on the bottom which is replaced with a text box whenever the game describes what happens, and a window of 112 by 112 pixels showing what you, as Del Thornborough, sees. It's funny how the action is pretty much just in this area that is less than 14% of the whole screen, or 22% of the main play area, the same as the NES MacVentures. The remaining space on the left and right reminds me of Super Game Boy borders, and they change depending on your location, to add ambiance. For added functionality, you can hold the tab button on the keyboard to slide in from the left a list of hotkeys, or you can hold the spacebar to slide in from the right an in-game map for the current area. Personally, I never use hotkeys, and while the in-game map can be useful in conjunction with your own notes, it's not entirely intuitive on its own. This is mostly due to room connections not always matching how they look in the main window. For example, you move forward, which you'd expect would be north, but you're actually going east. This is part of why I'm working on my own maps. Maybe they want to do something with the side spaces, but it is possible to make your way through the game without referring to these guides, which would make it feel even more like it could have been on the NES. Though aside from those side screen references, the one big thing that makes it different than the NES is its mouse control, which is smoother and usually quicker than navigating with the D-pad. Though expected for a PC game, it feels like a welcome change for something so NES-like. A new thing is the addition of story moments called timed events, which are exactly what they sound like. The Grim Reaper literally looms over the main window, and when its eyes glow red, along with the border, and the music turns intense, that means you have a limited time to act in order to survive. These will usually be during encounters with creatures or traps, and you will either have to use something in your inventory or in the environment a certain way, or in some cases just move out of the room. And failing to do the right thing means death. But with all deaths, timed or otherwise, and as always with these kinds of games, there are many, you will resume shortly before you got into that situation and can try again. However, your total deaths count that appears in your stats at the end of the game will have increased. Getting a deathless run, or at least as few deaths as possible, is part of the fun, unless you are sadistic and want to see and read all the interesting ways that Del meets his end. Though, deaths are easily superseded if you save often and just exit and reload your game anytime you mess up. Speaking of saves and deaths, that brings up a couple of gripes that I do have about Beyond Shadowgate. There is a limit of 3 save files, and while you are playing on a particular file, every time you save, you're always overwriting that same file. So as someone who wants to get all the possible endings and try different things, it is a little annoying to not have the flexibility of keeping saves at multiple points, aside from starting over on one of the other save slots. It essentially means I have to play through the game multiple times if I miss seeing something, or want to get back to a place to try doing something different. I mean, sure, you do have to replay it to get all the endings and achievements. Specific to me, I also had to replay to get all the screenshots for my maps and footage for this review. Don't get me wrong, replayability is good, but I wish the save system didn't force it more than necessary. This is indeed a case where I do not want Beyond Shadowgate to mimic the limitations of the original Shadowgate. I'm not sure if my next point is a public service announcement that you should hear, especially if you are a completionist, or if this is a spoiler that you might want to skip. Consider this a spoiler warning, and I'll put a timestamp here that you can skip ahead to if you don't want to hear it. So it seems that it is not possible to get both a total death count of 0 and a total area completion of 100% on the same file. The reason for it is, entering one particular room leads to an instant death. So either you get total area completion by entering it but dying, or you avoid the room to not die, but then you can't get total area completion. And unfortunately, it's within an area that you can't go back to once you've completed what you need to do there, so it's not like you can keep a save file near the end of the game and make a choice either way. Or if you skipped it, but later change your mind and think that you are okay with taking a death, you can't go back to it. As a player who likes to have perfect save files in my games, the fact that I have to choose between either taking a death or having an incomplete map is infuriating. Combine that with the rigid save system and it's even more frustrating. And that same area also has a rather random achievement that is easy to miss and can't get back to. It involves looking at something in the background, which is a reference to another GrahfMetal game. Random achievements are fine, but only being able to earn them in unrevisitable areas is silly. That's the stuff I didn't appreciate, so now here's some stuff I do like. Beyond Shadowgate is a decent sized length. It has multiple more rooms than any of the NES MacVenture games, and yet the overall game is not too long. And this is a good thing. HowLongToBeat.com says it's about 9.5 hours for a completionist, which sounds about right. It's going to take a fair chunk of that to get your first ending, though if you have what you need, it's possible to see up to 3 endings on one save file, but you'll have to play it at least twice to get all 4 endings. Once you know what to do, a subsequent run is much faster, and the fast fendling achievement for finishing in under 2 hours is certainly doable. It seems like around 1 in 10 players have gotten that achievement on Steam, which is higher than I expected. I did complain earlier about having to replay the game more than necessary, but at least it's not a gargantuan feat each time. These days, I don't mind games that aren't overly lengthy. The next good point is, well, again, I'm not sure if it's a spoiler or not. I'll have a timestamp if you don't want to take chances. I say I'm not sure if it's a spoiler because if you've seen any promotional material, like the trailers, or even scrolling down the slightest bit on its Kickstarter campaign page, it's already out there. Anyway, here's your last chance to back away, by jumping to this timestamp. I already stated at the start of this review that Beyond Shadowgate does a great job of being a sequel to an NES game, but it's more like a sequel or prequel to 3 NES games. That's right, it's also related to Deja Vu and Uninvited. You know that imp that does the Cookie Monster Jam in Uninvited? Yes, maybe I just need an excuse to include that in this video. Well, he makes an appearance in Beyond Shadowgate, and as a pretty important character too. Besides that, the stretch goals in the Kickstarter campaign were to add some chapters, each based around the areas visited in these other NES MacVenture games, as well as the VR game, Shadowgate: The Mines of Mythrock. And these areas are kind of faithful, so they should be familiar to players of those previous games. An interesting side note is that the Mines of Mythrock includes a fair number of spiders, which arachnophobes wouldn't like to see, especially in VR, so they added a silly spider mode that makes them cartoony looking instead. Still don't like when they get in my face though. Anyway, this version of the spiders is seen in the Mines of Mythrock chapter of Beyond Shadowgate, perhaps implying that the silly spider mode is canonical, which is kind of funny. Anyway, hopping through space and time to encounter areas and characters from Deja Vu and Uninvited might be a selling point to NES or MacVenture fans, if NES fans weren't already picking this up for its style. I do wonder if these chapters might seem a little out of place or kind of tacked on. After all, they were stretch goals in a Kickstarter campaign, so if these goals were never met, the story would need to be reworked to not include them, but it wouldn't take much effort. Still, I appreciate these connections, which might even get people to check out or revisit these games, including the Mines of Mythrock in VR. which I haven't gotten far in myself, mostly because of cartoony spiders jumping in my face. Deja vu. Speaking of which, though I have played the first Deja Vu, I haven't played Deja Vu 2 Lost in Las Vegas. Maybe there are some references to that here too. If so, it would partially prove my next point, that even if you haven't played all the games being revisited, the story of the game still works overall. Playing those other games or the original Shadowgate will help recognize references, but are not necessary to play this game. So, does the gameplay from the 80s hold up? I'd say so. The puzzles are fine, there aren't out of the blue seemingly random solutions like other games in this genre. At least if you're paying attention, there is logic to them. The timed events add tension but will probably never really stump you. Some deaths are freaky, but since you're seeing all this from Dell's perspective, the grisliness is usually more in the text descriptions than what is depicted on screen. And though there may be some shock of seeing something jumping into Dell's face, these jump scares are not completely out of nowhere. Your mileage may vary, but I hesitate to call Beyond Shadowgate a horror game, despite a few horror tropes like unholy creatures and supernatural entities in a creepy castle. Maybe it's because I'm only confident to call things horror if they actually scare me, but after playing Silent Hill 2, I don't even find Resident Evil scary at all.
A second late, you would have fit nicely into a sandwich.
But that could just be me, especially if you haven't played Silent Hill 2. I'd say Beyond Shadowgate is a fantasy game, and from a gameplay perspective, is a point-and-click adventure. And if you enjoy this genre's gameplay of interacting with scenes by using items to solve puzzles, while avoiding death that seems to loom around every corner, and or if you like a good 8-bit throwback that is also a proper sequel to a beloved NES classic, then Beyond Shadowgate is definitely recommended. I like this game enough to not only support it and unbox it, but also to review it and map it. I surprisingly haven't reviewed games much on this channel at all, and though I run VGMaps.com, I rarely make time to actually map games myself, so that's saying something that I have here. I give Beyond Shadowgate a 4 out of 5. Falling short mostly because of the limit of 3 save files and the one unfair thing I mentioned behind that spoiler warning earlier. While you can't get this game with all the Kickstarter goodies anymore, you can certainly purchase the game, which is available for PC on Steam and GOG. You can also get the digital versions of the strategy guide and prelude comic as DLC on either store, so go check it out. This is not a sponsored video, I bought this with my own money and these opinions are all my own. I'm spreading the word to keep the love of retro style games going. Keep up the good work, Zojoi, GrahfMetal, and everyone else involved in making indie games in general. And now, back to my past self. Yeah, so that's Beyond Shadowgate. Sorry again it took so long to put this video out. Sorry that my channel in general has been a little bit slow. It's tough, man, making videos. It's a struggle because I have a full-time job and I also manage VGMaps.com. If you enjoy what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe because it's all helping and encouraging me to make time for these videos. You know what I should do? I should recommend videos that I made like directly in this video. Definitely check out this NES parody of We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel if you're an NES fan. Pretty sure Shadowgate gets a mention in it. Shadowgate Digger T-Rock. And I also did this 10-episode series on when me and Jason went to Japan and did a whole bunch of geeky stuff, so be sure to check that out too. Until next time, keep geeking out. See ya! I guess my blazer was covering the shirt that I got here. Anyways, what do you think of this? What do you think of this blazer, Jace? Do you think I should keep wearing my videos?
I think you should ask your viewers what they think.
Oh, okay. Hey viewers, do you think I should keep on wearing this blazer? This red blazer? Red's the best color after all. I don't know. There we go.
It's very Adauga.
It's what?
Adauga.
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 Oh, Adauga. Yes. Alright, yeah, that's it. I got nothing. Stop it.